Saludos mi gentes, I am Erika Hernandez and this is the Polymath Latina podcast. Join me every week in real conversation with women from all walks of life who are making a true impact in their communities. We will dive into different topics that range from culture to religion, health, politics, and business. Whether it's a one-on-one conversation with a guest or a table discussion open for debate, one thing is for sure. No topic is left off the table. For the month of November, I have challenged myself to be thankful every day for one thing in my life. And today's guest is one I am eternally thankful for. She is the woman behind the words Latina Made, which helped me start my nonprofit organization, Latina Made Not Maid. She is a dance instructor, casting assistant, photographer, and an amazing wife and mother. Welcome, Cecilia.
Thank you for having me.
No, thank you so much for joining me and agreeing to come on my podcast.
I know, when you called me, I was so excited and I was like, this is something out of my, box. So I said, let's go do it. Let's do it.
Yeah, because you are a person who is normally behind the camera, behind the stage, behind the curtain. And before I get into why I brought you here, okay? Just to let everyone know, we've known each other for years.
Yes, we have.
For many, many years. In fact, we've known each other probably for like 37 years. And our, I guess, relationship or our journey, right, started when I was very, very young. And that was because I used to attend dance classes where you were a dance instructor. Now, but you were the dance instructor for the big girls. Yes. You weren't the dance instructor for the little girls, And I remember, I think I shared it with you when we were talking on the phone that, when I was a little girl, I used to sit in the corner of the studio and wait for my mom or my grandmother to pick me up. And I would just sit there and just like fantasize and wish that I was one of the big girls so that I can go and be in your class and things like that. And then when I finally got the opportunity, okay, to be in the big girls class, I was around 12 or 13. Let me tell you, it was like that moment when you're a little kid, you're like, I want to be big, I want to be big. And then when you're finally big, you're like, what the hell was I thinking? I want to be an adult again, right? And that was being in your class because you were a strong dance instructor. And I want you to share a little bit about
how I started?
How you started, because I've known you for so many years. And, there was that period in my life where I know you as Cecilia, the dance school instructor. And then we kind of lost ways and we drifted apart, and then we kind of reunited later on in life, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But I was thinking to myself, when did Cecilia start dancing? When did dancing become a thing? Like, I don't know your dance journey. So how did that happen?
I think I started at about the age of 6 or 7. My mother said, well, you need to do something in the afternoons, and 2 blocks down was the dance studio at that time. So I went to Yolanda's dance studio until I graduated, which was 21 years old. But through that whole journey, I also took classes in New York, and after I graduated from college, I also went to Spain for a couple of weeks, and I took flamenco classes there as well. So I did take different classes in different places, but my main teaching came from Yolanda. So I would say about 16, I became her assistant, and which I loved. I loved dealing with all the little girls, and I had the best time ever. Then as I graduated from college, she had offered me at that point a job there. And I said, that's fine, but I guess my journey, instead of the little girls, I became like the big girl teachers.
The preteens, the teenagers.
Right, yeah. Which I'm telling you, they're really hard. I love teenagers. I like when I don't like it when they're 14 to 16. After 16,
puberty.
After 16, I do love them dearly. And then after that, when they graduated, some of my students even went into dance, right, as a profession. So it's kind of nice to see them kind of grow. Then and I've been teaching there ever since, and I truly love it. It's a creative outlet for me. Same thing as photography. I think all my life, my whole life it's been a creative outlet. Right. And I worked in television before, as you know, and then from there, I opened up my photography studio, and then from there, I'm now doing a casting assistant for an agency. Right. So everything has to be somewhat of a creative outlet for me.
Right, and that's amazing because I didn't even know that you were a student.
Mm-hmm. Nope.
The same, we had the same teacher pretty much at that point, and I would have never in a million years. I thought that maybe you went to one of the competitive dance schools, one of our rivals. So to know that, we were both taught by the same person, that's like amazing.
It is, and Yolanda's a wonderful person.
Yes.
Yolanda is someone who also gives to the community, and then and she also has a lot of students that go there pro bono, and that's why I like being there, because I see that her school is not just about teaching dance, but it's also about having a community, having a family,
yes,
and growing, and that's,
yes,
I think, why I have stayed there such a long period of time.
Yeah, so that's great. So then my dance career, or you could say my mini dance career, came to an end, and of course life moves on and we just kind of drift apart. And I know I moved from the local area of Hudson County down to Central Jersey and and whatnot, and then a few years went by, about 15 years went by, mm-hmm, 15 or 16 years went by, and I established my own event and planning firm here in Hoboken, New Jersey. And somewhere in the midst of, us losing touch, you picked up a camera and started doing photography. Yeah. And how did that begin?
Okay, so I graduated from Kane University. When I went into Kane University, my major was physical therapy. And really, wow, dance therapy, because I wanted to see how, if a dancer is injured or something, how I can, help them. Okay, get back onto their career. And I remember after 3 years, almost ready to graduate, when I needed one more year, I took an acting class. Hold on. And then I took a communication class. And I also took like all these little classes. And all of a sudden I said, what am I doing? That's not what I want to do. I want to do TV. I want to do photography. So I took photography, like 3 or 4 courses in college. And I totally changed my whole career. My mother was so mad at me.
I could imagine.
She was like, what are you doing? You only need one more year. I'm like, I know, but it's just, I feel like I'm in the wrong direction.
Right.
So I spent another year at Kane University, and I graduated with a communications and a minor in theater. So from there, just, things just kind of like started to develop. I worked at the Park Theater as a little part-time job, stage managing, and that was like lots of fun.
FYI, that's where our recitals were held.
Right, but I also did other projects that came in. I worked with this guy named Frank, who taught me a lot. And then from there, I started to pick up my camera. And then I met my husband. And that's how we met. We met because we actually met online. And we were talking about photography in theater.
Wait a minute, you guys met online?
Yes, we met online.
Like a dating app online or like Facebook online?
Now remember, I'm old. So at that point, it was like these little
room chats?
Room chats. And I
Whoa,
remember, and
okay.
I remember that I was looking for like some kind of like part-time little job, and he came on. And he had a theater. His cousin had a theater in Chicago. So they were looking for a lighting director. Okay, I do lighting. I can do that. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So we started talking about the different lights that they would need. They were asking me about different mics and different stuff like that. That's how we got to know each other.
So you were like consulting, or
yes, I was consulting them on the type of equipment that they needed to get for their project. After that, we just got into other conversations, and I think that when he first came to meet me. I remember I handed him a camera. Let's go shoot. And from that
how romantic of
I
you.
know, right? How romantic. But after that, it was like we've been shooting ever since. Like, he loves to shoot, and I love to shoot. I love to edit, be more of the creative end. And he's more. He's also very creative as well.
Yes.
But he's more technical. When it comes to stuff like that.
Yes.
And I'm more on the other end of the spectrum. So it kind of worked. everything worked out, and we opened up Teal Green Photography, and that's when we kind of reconnected again.
Yes, I do remember that. But I need your tips on the whole dating chat room thing.
Okay, no problem.
Because I have tried apps, I have tried, supermarkets, and I am still single. So let me know how that works.
Well, that will be a different podcast.
Did a different episode. Yes. But yeah, so we kind of reconnected through the event industry and the event space. And I remember when we were talking, you shared with me. And I don't even know how that relationship even started, how that business relationship started. I don't know if you reached out to me or if I reached out to you.
I don't remember,
I don't remember, but I know that a mutual friend of ours told you that I would be a little difficult to work with.
Right. Not really. I would say the word would not be difficult. I think the word would be she's very demanding, and there's when it comes to her business, when it comes to her business, she's very, she wants things done right.
Right.
And I said, that's fine, because we want things done right too.
Right.
So I said, let's see what happens. And then I think we collaborated on one project, and from there we went to different projects, and we even got into like different magazines.
Yes.
And
we got published.
We got published a couple of times, and it was really nice. And and it was a great relationship.
It was. And at that point, that's where our relationship not only became a business transaction, but we also developed a sense of friendship, which brings us to the reason why I wanted to bring you to the show. Okay. As you very well know, Latina Made Not Maid is a nonprofit that I am the co-founder and CEO of. And, for those that are listening and watching, this nonprofit organization basically just globally educate. We have been, dedicated and on the mission to globally educate not only the Latino community, but everyone, right, about the importance of positive sharing when it comes to Latina women specifically, right? And I want to share that story because this organization, the Latina Made Not Maid organization, would have never been possible without you. Okay? And even though we're going to go back and we're going to share the story and how it all came about, I wanted to have you here because we launched back in March of 2017. We've been up and running since 2017. We have a phenomenal community of mujeres who have supported us and are right there by our side. And although I have always, when people ask me, well, how did that come about? You know what I mean? I share the story and I always say, no, because my friend, she suggested these two words. Or, my ex-dance teacher turned my photographer. She used to, she gave me these two words. But I never really fully gave you the recognition that I know you deserved. Okay? And for 4 years and a little bit more, now I'm crying, I ugly cry. I've had a lot of guilt.
Okay.
And I've been, very heavy-hearted. And I feel like, even though I've mentioned it, and I might say, no, my friend Cecilia, I feel like I could have honored you or acknowledged you sooner, and maybe that could have helped your photography career be a lot bigger than what it is now. Maybe, when you went through this tragic accident with your husband last year, maybe you would have had a bigger support system if I would have done something, or if I would have said something earlier, and sooner, and given you what I feel you rightfully deserve.
Oh, thank you.
So now that I'm gonna try to get myself together, and I know that when I reached out to you and I told you, hey, I want you to be on my podcast, and I want to talk about this, and I want to celebrate you, and I want to honor you for, you know, you being that reason, right? You were like, girl, I don't even remember. I don't even remember what the conversation was about. I don't even remember how that even all started. So I'm going to start it.
Okay.
So basically, I was invited to speak at Seton Hall University.
Okay.
Okay. And it was for a Latina luncheon.
Okay.
And I was asked to speak on how to turn your passion into a profitable career. Okay. Because that's what I did with my event planning company, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I've been event planning since I was in high school. Like, I was always in every committee that had to involve an event.
Right.
Like, I was there. And if the event wasn't, you know, didn't exist, I would make it up because that was just my thing. That's what I liked, right? And as a woman, and you know me, I love clothes, I love fashion, I love all that stuff. I already had my outfit picked out of what I was gonna wear. I knew what I was gonna wear 2 weeks prior to that day. And it just so happened that the day before I was actually supposed to go and speak, the school reached out to me. And they said, hey, you know, we know that you have an online business that sells printed t-shirts with positive slogans and phrases. Why don't you wear one of your t-shirts to the events? And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, I got my outfit picked out. No way. Like, and they're like, yeah, I really think because it's women and you're really, your focus and your target is women, you know, I think. But the truth is, I didn't have a shirt that fit with the theme because we're talking about turning passion into careers and profitable business, and we're talking to the Latina community. And I really didn't have anything that hit either one, right? So the day before, I was having a meltdown because I couldn't figure out what to put on a t-shirt. I was having a meltdown. I was stressed. I was worn. I thought of every word, phrase possible, and I couldn't just get it. And that night, my phone rang. It was late. I remember it was late. It was like 9:30, 10 o'clock. Yeah. My phone rang out of nowhere, and I pick up the phone, and it was you. Now, I don't know if you called me because of that friendship that we had already, you know, built and we had, or if it was because we were working on a project. I don't know if you remember.
I think it was both, but I think we were working on a project or something, and I just, you know, wanted to call you just to confirm that we had everything ready to go on that project. And I think I remember, you kind of sounded a little bit weird. I'm like, hey, what's going on with you? Are you okay? And then you started, you know, telling me all about what you just finished saying. And then all of a sudden you said, oh, let me look up Latina Made.
No, you said.
Oh, I said.
You were like, well, how about just Latina Made? And I was like, Latina Made? Like, what do you mean Latina Made? And you didn't even know what the heck you meant. No. And we were going back and forth. Like, I remember I said like Latina Made because my mom is a Latina and she made me. Like, like I was like, and you were like, no, like you're made, like you're successful, you have a career, you have a business. And I'm like, oh, wow, I love that, right?
Yep.
And I don't even think we talked any further than that. Like, I went to work because I had to, and you were like, okay, you know, we hung up because I had a t-shirt to make to be at the speaking engagement at 11 o'clock the next morning. And I sat down in front of my computer to do my due diligence. And I opened up the search browser because I wanted to make sure that Latina Made, and this is M-A-D-E, was not copyright written, trademark, or taken or anything like that. And when I typed in the words to the search browser and pressed enter, I got a completely blank screen. There was nothing. Actually, the only thing that it says was suggested search was Latina Made, M-A-I-D.
Yep.
And I was like, that's odd. And something just told me to click the images. And I went to click on images. And when I saw those results, my mouth dropped, my heart stopped, and then came the anger. Because what I saw there was an endless amount of images of Latina celebrities who've played the maid role, cleaning services, and just porn sites on porn sites on porn sites on porn sites and porn sites of Latina women dressed in French maid costumes.
Yes, I remember.
But I remember that night, it was already too late. I was tired. I had to get this, and I just let it go. And I went to my speaking engagement. I spoke. I did what I needed to do. And at the end of the event, some lady came up to me. She's like, "Oh my God, I love your shirt. Is that on your site?" And I was like, "No, girl, I just did this last night. It's not for sale yet, right?" And I shared with her the story. And she got as upset as I did. So that kind of like, now that anger now ignited a fire. And you know me, like I'm a firecracker. I'm ready to go, like I'm ready for war, right? And when I saw her reaction, it like,
it made you think.
It really started like, like when you're pushing somebody's button. And I remember on my way home, I'm driving down the Garden State Parkway, back home. And for anybody watching, if you are in New Jersey and you are in the Garden State Parkway, do not do what I did. I stopped on the side of the road. Do not stop on the side of the road on the parkway. I literally pulled over on the side of the road, and I pulled up my phone and I went on Facebook and I made a post. I said, "Can everyone please take a second, open your search browser and enter Latina Made, M-A-D-E, on to your search browser and screenshot what you get and leave it on my comments." Because I really thought it was just me, because depending on your search history, everybody's searches can be different.
Exactly.
By the time I got home, I had quite a few screenshots, and they were all the same. And that's where I knew that something had to be done. Because even yourself, in 2017, you were a college graduate from Keene University, dance instructor, photographer, you had your own business. Myself, I had my own business. Any kind of status quo that's, we're up against as just a minority group, we beat those odds, right?
Exactly, yes.
So in 2017, to see something like that, it angers. Now, when I told you what the results were, or when you searched yourself, how did you feel?
Well, I did feel it was degrading, as a woman. Especially as a Latin woman, where it's really two minorities together, Latin and a woman. And it's really hard to see these images. And at that time, I had a son. And I didn't want my son to think, oh, this is what all Latin women is supposed to be.
Right.
No, we're successful women. We want to help each other in the community. And, we're not just maids. So I remember when, you started organization, I was really happy. And I remember we did your photo shoot that day.
Yes, you did. You did my photo shoot.
And I did the photo shoot. And
our T-shirts were like, they were testers. They were, what's the word for that when you're like testing something? Prototypes.
And I remember I had to tweak it a little bit and everything. But, at that moment, I said, oh, wow, here's an organization that's going to back us up. Right. Here's an organization that is going to tell people this is not who we are. We're more than this.
Right.
Okay, Jennifer Lopez, like we're more than this, okay?
Right.
All right, look at, I know she did a lot of the Maid, movies, but I just wanted, this organization to grow and, and to push Latin women, and to show them that we have a purpose. We can be entrepreneurs, we can, be school teachers, we can be whatever we wanted. It was just not that image that I saw on the computer that day.
Yeah. Did you ever think, because you just mentioned right now, you and your husband did our pictures for the promos and the launch and everything. Did you ever think that your pictures would make it to like Latina Magazine and BuzzFeed, and because we got a lot of media attention and press? Yes. And did you ever think that it would become what it is today?
I knew it was going to become something. Like I knew it, especially with your backing. When you decide on things, Erika, you go for it. And you do not let anybody stop you. So I knew the organization was going to grow. and it was going to become more successful as we go along. It's going to be more successful. Just adding just those little pictures and those little things that we did, I felt like I was kind of part of it, and that I gave it a little bit to start. Like I kind of like ignited a little bit, but you took it to where it is now. So just being that little part like made me really happy, because I feel like I did something for my community. And that was really important to me. Like I was part of my community, and I added something positive to them. And now I'm saying, go, here, now.
But at that moment when you said, girl, why just not Latina Made? Because you just said it like nonchalant.
Yeah.
Like if it was like, I was, did you feel, because now we're sharing this story, like when did you, and when we had the conversation over the phone, when I asked you to be here, you were like, oh girl, it's nothing. Like I never thought about it that way. When did you actually realize that you said to yourself, I did have a part?
I think I did have a part when I started seeing, well, besides the photo shoot, when I started seeing like different women wear the sign. The shirt with the name, Latina Made Not Maid. When I started seeing that, I said to myself, okay, I did something. You know what I mean? It started some kind of little revolution. Like in other words, look what I'm wearing. And they wore it proudly. And I love that. And I love like the different stories that they would tell, you know, and how they found the organization and how they wanted to wear the t-shirt. And I thought that was like incredible.
Right.
And that's when I said, wow, there's a really big community out there that needs to be discovered and needs to be organized, and it needs to have a voice, you know?
Yep. And, Ceci, I'm thankful for you. Like I said earlier in the start, I'm challenging myself for the month of November to every day be grateful for one thing, every day. Because we sometimes, miss or undervalue or don't appreciate the things we have, and we're always on the search for the what's next. And that's one of my biggest things, like I never stop and say to myself, okay, be thankful for the bed you have, or be thankful for this or that. Like I'm always on that hustle train of what's next. I want to do more. I want to, be there more for my community. I want to, hello, right. It's like this came out of nowhere. This podcast came out of nowhere, So I'm really right now at a point in my life where I'm trying to be a little bit more present and real with myself. And I thought that the best way to start is just finding things every day or people that I am grateful for. And with Thanksgiving being tomorrow, right, and today being the 23rd day of the month, I'm eternally grateful for you.
Oh, thank you.
And eternally thankful for you. And I know that you don't see it that way, and I know that your heart is just so big, but I'm sorry I didn't do this sooner.
Oh, listen. I think that I truly believe that every day things happen for different reasons.
Right.
And like what you said about like being present, after my husband's accident, one thing I had to learn is to be present every single day. And, and think about, oh, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. No, I get to do this now, Erika. I get to be with my family. If I have, it's no longer I got to, it's I get to do things. Right. And that's something that I think we all need to learn, that we need to step back and think about, how blessed we are. And I'm very blessed that he's still here with us, and that every day he's getting better and better and better. And he's my rock. Without him, I would have been lost. So in reality, I thank you for your acknowledgement. And I never really, I was never really thought that I always thought I was part of the organization. Honestly, I always thought.
Right.
Like it's not like I was like cast to the side or anything. No, I always thought every time I saw a shirt or every time I saw this and I saw that, you know what I mean? I knew I was part of it, and and I'm grateful for that conversation that day, because our friendship is still strong. Yes. You know what I mean? And that's something that that I love. And I hope to see Latina Made Not Maid grow. And if you need me, I'm always going to be here for you, but also for my community, and and for my Latina women. I'm always going to be here. But thank you for that.
Thank you so much. I thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. It's been such a pleasure knowing you and being part of your crazy life all your life.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Put me on blast out there, right? So before we wrap this up,
okay,
I like to do a final five, which is rapid questions.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All
So
right.
it's 5 rapid questions. Ready?
Yes. Oh, okay.
If you had to pick one, dance or photography?
Okay, dance.
What makes you smile the most?
Waking up and seeing my husband and my son every single day.
Love that. Tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Oh, yes. It must be the Cuban in us, right?
It's the Cuban in us.
What inspires you?
I think everything inspires me. Like I said, it's been a difficult year, and anything that I see inspires me. Even though I have not been doing dance, I've been doing more photography, I really have been enjoying it even more. For example, I just did a maternity shoot not even a couple of weeks ago. And I think what I love about photography is it's almost like seeing their souls through my lens. Like I can see who they are. And sometimes these people can't even see themselves. So once I take their pictures and I show them, they're like, oh, wow. I said, yes, this is who you are. And then she goes, no, because you captured me. No, I captured my lens. Yes, you're right. I took your picture.
Right.
But what I want to capture is who you are, your soul, who you meant to be. And I think that's what I like about photography. And you always know, I bring my camera everywhere. It doesn't matter. I have my camera always in the back of my car because when I see something that inspires me, I take it out and I shoot it.
Yeah.
And I think, the most difficult part is that I'm on this little kind of journey by myself because as my husband starts to get better,
right,
I'm hoping that he's going to continue this journey with me. But right now, I'm enjoying it. I'm kind of enjoying it and seeing different things. So,
I love that. And last one thing you're most grateful for.
Oh my God, that's a lot. I'm grateful every single morning I wake up and I say to God, thank you for letting me experience a new day. Thank you for letting me see my family. Bring on the challenges, I'm ready. Open my doors, I want to see. So just guide me and I'm there. So I'm grateful every day for just experiencing life. That's it. That's what I'm grateful for. Nothing more than that.
I love that. Love it, love it, love it. All right, so Ceci, tell everyone where they can find you, whether it's photography, whether it's maybe you're having a sweet 15 or 16 and they need a choreograph, dance choreographed, because she did do a lot of those. I've been in a few of those cortes.
Yep. I mean, it's creativeness. That's where my heart is, and that's where I look for.
Right.
I was in a corporate job for a long time, and I loved it because it still was television related, but it wasn't as creative as what I'm doing now.
Right.
So it's www.tealgreenphoto.com. We do a lot of headshots, sweet 15s, portraits, children photography. I'm also working, as you know, at Glitter Talent as a casting assistant, which I love too. Because it's almost I am helping these little young kids that really want to get into the industry an opportunity. And I still work at Yolanda Dance Studio. What am I going to say? I think I'm always going to be there. I think I'm going to just the day that I die, I'm still going to be at Yolanda Dance Studio.
Bury you there, right?
Bury me there, but I love being there. I love being with my dance family and my photography family and all this. I love what I do.
All right, guys. So make sure that you check out Cecilia Cardenas at www.tealgreen.com.
Yeah, tealgreenphoto.com.
Oh, tealgreenphoto.com.
Yes.
And give them a follow on Instagram. All right, Cecilia, thank you so much for joining me once again. It was a pleasure.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
Yes. We really hope you enjoyed this episode of the Polymath Latina podcast. Stay connected with us directly through thepolymathlatina.com and join the conversation over on Instagram. Don't forget to like and subscribe, then go and listen to the episode on your favorite podcast player. Remember to share your smile y hasta la próxima.